Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and I'm so sorry that I'm late, but I was doing some last minute research. I've been trying to sort of research into you know, Hungarian sort of community things in Aberdeen, etc. Anyway, I only just thought of that not long ago, so I haven't had a chance to look into it properly. But anyway, hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So it's certainly crazy, this story, isn't it? This case. We can't make any sense of it. The police can't seem to make any sense of it. These poor girls' family can't make any sense of it. This is Eliza and Henrietta Hutsi. Oh, somebody has let me know how to pronounce her surname. Husti. So this is Eliza and Henrietta Husti. I hope I've pronounced it correctly this time. One of my chatters, let me know how it's pronounced. So it's Elisa and the surname is Husti. So it's Elisa and Henrietta Husti. They are missing in Aberdeen. Now it's funny because they are triplets, but they are identical twins. Within these triplets, their third sister, Edith, she is not identical. So would we call them twins as well as maybe triplets? I mean, not that it matters really, but Elisa and Henrietta are identical, and their third triplet, Edith, is non-identical. So that perhaps explains why they are so close. Are identical twins closer than non-identical twins or triplets? So, that I think that's part of the reason why this case is so sort of mysterious as well, is because it involves two people. I mean, other research that I've been doing is women do go missing near rivers. They do choose to unalive themselves near rivers, much as we might not understand it, and we might always want to think there's some foul play because we can't believe that somebody would do that. They do it. They do it, and they do it quite often. I've been researching into that, and they always have done it. It's not that they're doing it more now than before. It's just that we're noticing it more now, probably because of the Nicola Bulley case. Maybe before that we never really took any notice of women that were missing in rivers or near rivers, and now of course we always notice. So that's a reason. So there's various reasons why this case has grabbed so much attention, but I do think the main reason is because it is so mysterious. Completely mysterious. There's still no clues. There's no typical signs that there normally is when women unalive themselves near rivers. They leave their belongings on the riverbank, or there's some sort of note left, or their family have got some idea that they've had some mental health issues or something like that. There just doesn't seem to be any of that in this case. But anyway, that's what we're going to look at. So basically the purpose of this video is we're going to go over what we know already. There is no new news as far as I know so far anyway today. The police are still looking for these sisters, but they've not released. The last information the police released was that the girls had been up in the area the day before, and they released that photo that we're going to look at. And they also released the fact that they had messaged their landlady to say they would not be at 2:00 in the morning, to say they would not be returning to their flat. I still think that is a very strange thing to do. You don't message your family and say anything, but you message your landlady to say, "Oh, we're not coming back to the flat." Then your phone goes completely dead. Very odd. Very odd. But you know what? Just because something's strange doesn't mean to say it's not true, does it? Or that it, you know, it may not be suspicious, but personally to me it is suspicious. But we'll see. So let me just say hello to everybody who's here. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about these sisters. Also, I want to ask you all please to subscribe to get updates on this case. And don't forget to press notifications, because then you won't miss any updates that come in. So I'm going to put my little banner on. I also want to say thank you, as always, to people who like the videos, share the videos. Always when it's a missing person, it's always a good idea to share the video, because you know, you need the maximum attention from the maximum people. Some people don't watch the news, they won't know anything about this case. But then they might just be watching YouTube. You share the video and they think, oh yeah, I was in Aberdeen that day. I saw those women, or, you know, oh, I saw them talking to such and such, or I saw something suspicious. You know, somebody knows something. These women, they've not disappeared into thin air. They've not been beamed up to the Starship Enterprise, or maybe they have. You know, you just don't know. You know, yeah, sometimes I think anything in this world would be possible. But at the end of the day, they're somewhere. And they are loved, you know, their family are concerned, their family in Hungary want to know what's happened to them. They're desperate for news. They've got their mum and dad, they've got their brother, their sister, friends, etc., all worrying about what's happened to these women. So, yeah, you know, the more we can do to spread the word, and hopefully sooner or later some information will come out. I mean, we know that the police will have more information. Whatever information the police have given us, they've probably got 10 times that amount of information, really. We'll just get the bits and pieces they want to tell us. And also, we have to remember they're gaining new information every day, because as they trawl through CCTV, it's not, you know, it's not an instant thing, is it? You're going through CCTV, you're going through leads, you're going through dash cam, you're going through door cam. You know, you can't just do it. That takes hours and days of studying to get through. So, you know, could be any time now more information comes out. So, yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being members, especially to my members. Thank you to those of you who support my channel by buying Ko-fis or sending super stickers. Thank you anyone who sent me a nice message, a nice email, etc. Thank you so much. And if anyone has any information about this and they want to tell me in confidence, email me. Nothing. I will not release anything that anybody says publicly unless they say it's okay to do so. Yeah, just when I talk about information, I mean, obviously, if you've got information as to where the sisters are, it's the police you need to be contacting. What I'm talking about, if you've got any insights into this case, like maybe you knew these girls, or maybe you know a bit more about the area, because I don't know this area at all. I've never been to Aberdeen. And I think, you know, I have had some messages from people who are Hungarian living in the area. I'm going to read those out. That's so useful to me to get this, you know, information about actually how it is, not just about, because sometimes places look different. I've seen this with the John George case, you know, how the area was described. And that is the area where John George went missing is an area that I know really quite well. And hearing it described in a way that was nothing like it really is quite, so it just shows you, you know, because when you get the media with the best will in the world, they're only talking from the experience they've got of that area. You can't beat local knowledge. So if anyone has any local knowledge that they think it might be interesting to this case, might add value to this case, or maybe you knew the girls, or you know people who know them, or you know the area, you're Hungarian, and because these girls are from Hungary originally, and they'd lived in Scotland for 6 years. I have heard, you know, some YouTubers talking about being 10 years, but as far as the police have said, it was 6 years. Again, if anyone knows any different to that, let me know. Yeah, please, any information is welcome. You can always, in fact, I'm just going to put my email in the chat just in case. And that doesn't only apply to this case. Anytime you have any information. Sorry, I've just got a little frog in my throat there. Anytime you have any information you want to give me in confidence, and you're in charge, whatever information you give me as to whether you want me to talk about it or not, publicly, you're the one in charge. So let me know. So that is my email. Anyway, sorry. Oh gosh. I think that little cough there is because I had a little spray of perfume, and now I don't know why I do that. Often before I come on live, I put a little bit of perfume on. Why do I do that? I just don't know. It just feels good to me. I smell nice anyway to me. Okay, so hi Junior. Hi David. Hi Kelly. Hi Jackie. Hi Tina. The lurkers, yeah. Hi to all my lurkers as well. And hi to replay crew, of course. Hi Kelly. Hi Pam. Hi Angel. Hi ACW. Hi Princess. Hi Daniel. Okay, so where we're going to start here. So I thought I'd sort of, I thought I'm going to start with, this comment that a Hungarian follower who lives in that area made. I thought I would start with that. So this is what the comment that she left. Because I asked, they left a comment, something about, and I asked, what they're saying in Hungary about this case. And this is what the comment that they left. My mother said that now in Hungary, everyone suspects the landlady. I mean, it's a shame, isn't it, for the landlady if she is innocent, but I still think it's suspicious, that last text. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. You were spot on when you said who would bother to send a message to the landlord before unaliving themselves instead of their loved ones. And I do think that's strange. I'm sure if you're just on the brink of unaliving yourself, you're not really going to care whether your landlady knows that you're not coming back to the flat or not. That personally, well, that's what I would think. If you're thinking of anyone, and I think people who are normally in that state, they're not thinking of much else except the desperate state that they're in. Otherwise, if they were thinking of other people, they probably wouldn't do it. Or sometimes they're thinking of other people and they're thinking that they would be better off without them. But I don't know if it just seems funny to me that they would contact the landlady. But nothing's beyond the realms of possibility, has it? So my Scottish colleague had this landlady theory yesterday. She said they probably got a phone call from a woman, friend, acquaintance, landlady who was in trouble, and they probably went to help that person. My colleague says that a woman would help a woman out. It's just a theory. Well, there you go. And it is a theory, and it's a good theory, because we still can't understand why they came out of their house unless it was to unalive themselves. Why did they come out of their house at 2:00 in the morning? And of course, what would take you out of your house at 2:00 in the morning? Maybe somebody you knew saying, oh my God, I'm in trouble. Can you come and help me? Because it was a strange place to go to as well, because they could have walked across that bridge and threw themselves off the bridge if they wanted to, but they didn't. They went over the bridge, they went onto the footpath, walked up that. And don't forget, it was freezing cold and icy. You know, it was awful, awful conditions. Just all feels wrong, doesn't it? But again, not impossible, but feels wrong. It's also a very sloping river, so they would have had to wade out into it. You know, I think originally when I was thinking maybe they slipped into it, I don't think you could slip into it really. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, and if you slipped into it and you got stuck in the mud or in the weeds or whatever, and then the other one went to help them, you know, it's again, who knows? But remember, it was pitch black. Why were they walking along there in the pitch black? So there is a possible theory, isn't there, that somebody contacted them and said, oh, look, can you come and help me? Because that's a possibility as well. That adds to the, you know, the list of possibilities as to why those women were even in that area in the first place at 2 o'clock in the morning. So what this chatter of mine says, the unaliving theory is out of the question for us Hungarians. What if they kept their money in cash? Yeah, maybe they had cash money. What if the landlady had male accomplices? I know it sounds far-fetched, but who knows? I would like to see an interview with the landlady. Yeah, I think we'd all quite like to see an interview with the landlady, wouldn't we? And then she goes on to talk about a case in Hungary. Anyway, then they said, I'm going to keep an eye on the Hungarian news and tell you if I learn anything new. And then she explained to me how to pronounce, because I was saying Eliza probably. That's the Spanish pronunciation, but it's Eliza. And their surname is Husti. Okay, so that was interesting to me that in Hungary, apparently, the general feeling is that maybe the landlady does know more than they're letting on. So that's interesting, isn't it? Hi, Mike. So, you know, it's all possibilities. At the end of the day, as we know, when you don't know anything definite, there's a lot of theories come up, and I'm going to go through some in this. But I think I'm going to start with just going back to the original police conference, which we have seen, but this is a bit of a longer version of it with the questions at the end. So we're going to start off with that. Oh, hang on, are we? Yes, we are. Honestly, sometimes I think the more that I prepare things, the harder. No, that needs to go. That's the wrong one. I have all my things lined up, all my ducks lined up in a row, and then it all goes wrong. Okay, let's start with this instead then, while I find that again. But we haven't seen this one, actually. It's just a short LBC video. Retracing the steps. We haven't seen this one before.
This is the street the sisters walked down, having left their home at around 2 a.m. in the morning when it would have been sub-zero conditions. They walked down here in the direction of Aberdeen's ferry terminal before taking this right-hand turn on to Market Street. And it was here on Market Street where CCTV footage shows the sisters walking side by side down towards the Victoria Bridge. And we know they then walked over this bridge across the Dee before making a sharp right-hand turn and going through the entrance to a public footpath. They started walking down this footpath, but this is the last place that they were seen. So the police say that it is very much one of their theories that somehow both sisters have ended up in the water, but for now this search continues and what happened to them remains a mystery.
Yeah, So, I mean, we're not any further on from that. I mean, that was the other day. That I would love to do that walk. I wish somebody would do the walk from where the sisters lived to the, take the path that they took. That's what I'd like to see somebody do, is actually walk from where they lived to the place where they think they disappeared, or to their final sighting, if you like. Okay. Now, yeah, I wanted to find, there was the police sort of press conference we watched, which was just that one guy talking. He did answer some questions at the end, and I'm trying to find, I had it all set up, but it seems to have disappeared now. I had the full conference. It was like 15-20 minutes, and now it's disappeared. So we'll look at this. Okay. Sorry, I just don't know where things disappear to. I have things set up and then they just vanish. There it is. Okay, so we've seen this, the detective guy speaking before, but this video has got all the questions that he was asked at the end as well, which I think do give us an insight as well.
2:15 in the morning, last Tuesday, the 7th of January 2025. They were last seen in and around this area of Aberdeen, crossing the Victoria Bridge towards Torry, where they entered a footpath adjacent to the River Dee, and inquiries to date have failed to trace them since that time. Concerns were raised regarding their whereabouts, and a significant police inquiry has been ongoing since that time, including extensive searches in and around the area of the river here, but also further afield, as we try and understand what has happened to the sisters. We're in contact regularly with their family home in Hungary, who are extremely concerned about their whereabouts, extremely supportive of police inquiries, and extremely keen to find out exactly what's happened. The family, along with the police, are really keen to hear from anyone in the Aberdeen area who may have been in and around the area of the Victoria Bridge or Torry during the early hours of Tuesday, the 7th of January. To that end, we had officers deployed in the early hours of this morning, exactly 1 week since their disappearance, who were speaking with members of the public in an attempt to gain further information with regards to what may have happened to them. A significant police inquiry remains ongoing, as will be evidenced by activity on the river today and in the days to come. We're also continuing a number of land-based inquiries in and around the Torry area, whilst keeping an open mind in terms of what exactly has happened. Appreciate the support of the media in sharing our appeals for information and for support from the public, and we really appreciate the input that we've had from the public so far. But again, I would reiterate that appeal. If you were in and around this area during the early hours of Tuesday, the 7th of January, whether you think you have relevant information or not, please contact us, have a conversation with us, and help us to piece together exactly what has happened. I'm happy to take questions from the attending media.
Whether or not this is suspicious or indeed sinister, what we've got with no further news that you can give us here today, you rule out that they've come to harm.
What I could say, that all our inquiries to date don't provide any evidence that there's been criminality involved in the disappearance of the sisters. There's obviously significant concern.
Now, they're still saying that. No criminality. So they're still insisting that. But I do think the police do tend to say that. And honestly, I just think it should be the other way around. I don't think they should say that. I think they should say, we're not ruling out anything. You know, treat it as suspicious until you find out it isn't, instead of treating it as not suspicious until you find out it is. I mean, really, if you think about it logically, 2 women just disappearing in the middle of the night is suspicious. It is suspicious. Of course it is. And it's always going to be suspicious. Now, it may turn out they have done something to themselves or it was an unfortunate accident. But surely, to do an effective investigation, we saw this with Nicola Bulley. It's because it was not, it's just assumed she'd gone in the river. That's what's caused most of the conspiracy theories around Nicola Bulley. Is right from the beginning, the police cocked it up completely. They didn't seal off the scene. There was a phone lying there. There was a dog harness lying there. They handed the phone over to her partner. That just, it didn't do him any favours, did it? It didn't do Paul any favours, them not treating it as suspicious right from the beginning. It should have been treated as suspicious because somebody could have abducted Nicola. Somebody, we still don't know for certain, somebody could have pushed her in the river. And all these things will endure forever in that mystery of Nicola Bulley. And part of the reason for that is because the police did not treat it as suspicious right from the word go. If you treat it as suspicious and then later you find out it isn't, that's fair enough. But you've done everything the right way, haven't you? I don't know is this been cordoned off? We don't know. So what I'm trying to say is, in my opinion, I think it works better to treat something as suspicious until proved not suspicious, rather than treat it as suspicious until the other way around, doesn't it?
When people are unaccounted for such a significant period of time, but extensive police inquiries to date have not identified any suspicious circumstances.
No. But the thing is, of course, it waited so long. So long's gone by now. So if there was any suspicious circumstances, all that evidence has been lost, just like in the Nicola Bulley case. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, to me, as soon as that landlady reported the missing, I suppose, or reported concerns, that case, that should have been considered suspicious. When 2 women disappear in the middle of the night, who have no, they weren't like normally out in the middle of the night, according to all intents and purposes. It wasn't something they normally did. It was a freezing cold January day. There was snow, there was ice. Why? Of course it's bloody suspicious. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that is suspicious one way or another.
Do you have any idea why they came to this area? Explanation at all?
We don't. We are carrying out significant inquiries to try and understand what the lifestyle and the movements of the sisters was. But from information from friends and family, them being out in Aberdeen at that time in the morning is very unusual. We've no reason to think that they were socialising in the city prior to attending in this area. It looks very much as if they've attended here from their home address or the area of their home address. But we're working hard to try and understand that.
Who was it that raised the alarm?
The person raising the alarm was the person from whom they rent their flat. And that person had been in contact with the sisters in the days prior in the context of the relationship of landlord and tenant. And the alarm was raised by that person, and the police inquiry stood up immediately thereafter.
What did you glean from the last week?
An enormous amount of information in terms of what goes on in this area at that time in the morning. It's an area of heavy industry, and I think we've got good evidence to suggest that there were people walking about, there were people driving about.
Listen to that word salad there. Oh, well, we've got good evidence to suggest there were people walking about, there were people driving about. You know, you can't. Literally would look, if I was in that area, I'd be down there at 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to see what, not on my own, you know. I mean, go there with you know, someone that probably would take the German Shepherd or whatever, you know, or someone to protect me, because obviously it's not maybe a safe place to be, but you know, to get an idea of what was it like, why were they there? Were they there to help someone, to meet someone? Just decided to have a walk, you know, as I've said before, you know, they were young women with no kids, no animals, you know, no ties. So if they wanted to go for a walk at 2 o'clock in the morning in a freezing cold day, there's nothing to stop them doing it. But yeah, now he's saying that there were people about. I'd like to see what is it like there. Some people have been saying that there are homeless people around there, or you know, refugee camps, or you know, I don't know if that's true or not, because I don't know that area. But I'd like to see photos of it. I'd like to see a video of it. Are there people there? Is it a dangerous place? Are people sitting around drinking? You know, as far as these girls are concerned, their family said they didn't drink or take drugs. Now, that doesn't mean to say they didn't drink or take drugs, because, of course, their family might not have known. But, you know, this is what I'm saying. There's all this conflicting evidence, you know, conflicting information, sorry. What were they doing there? This is the crux of this case for me. What were they doing there? If they can find out why they were there in the first place, that's the answer to everything. They were either there because they wanted to do something to themselves, they were there to meet someone, they were just having a walk, or they were going to get drugs or drink, or you know, somebody suggested there may be escorts, you know, which is it's a horrible thing to think, but you know, people are escorts, you know, so it's not, again, beyond. But even if they were escorts, what would they be doing down at the river at that time? You know, nothing makes sense, does it? Whatever you think. And he's, you know, I think at the end of the day, this guy's doing the press conference because he's got to do one, and he's got to be careful of not giving, because it is an investigation, so he's got to be careful of not giving too much away, maybe. But still, it does give conflicting information.
Who will hopefully be able to help us build some context around about you know, what has happened here. What we've also gleaned is information from an extensive CCTV trawl, from which we've been able to piece together the sisters' movements through Aberdeen and ultimately to this area of Aberdeen where that contact for the moment has dropped off. But inquiries continue to try and understand what's happened thereafter.
Do you have a working hypothesis at the moment about what might have happened to them, or are you pursuing lots of different?
Yeah, we have a number of hypotheses, and we're remaining really open-minded in terms of what may have happened. But one of the main theories is that for some reason the sisters have entered the water here, and that's why a lot of the search activity that you'll have seen over the last few days has been focused in and around the river. We don't know that for certain. What we do know is that at the moment CCTV provides that they entered a footpath adjacent to the River Dee, and we have no trace of them leaving that footpath yet. But inquiries continue to see if we can extend that timeline further.
Did they appear to have anything with them? Say there were someone crazy like going for a late night swim. Did they appear to have anything with them that would back that up?
We've no reason to think from the way they were dressed or the way they were acting that they intended to enter the river in the means that you've described there. The CCTV image, I think, has been shared of the most recent sighting of the sisters. They are dressed appropriately for the weather, but there is nothing else in their dress that causes us concern.
So is there a chance this has been some tragic accident?
As I say, we remain open-minded in terms of what exactly has happened, but we're not ruling anything out.
Has there been any interaction with the Eliza
At the moment, there's no reason to think that. It is a line of inquiry, but we've carried out extensive inquiries in terms of the state of mind that the sisters may have been in, and the sort of lifestyle, movements, contact with friends, contact with family, and everything that we have gleaned so far suggests that they were happily living their life in Aberdeen, working, socialising with friends and keeping in touch with family in an entirely normal manner.
How long did it listen before the alarm was raised by the landlord?
It was only a matter of hours. We think that, we know that the last sighting of them was in the early hours of the morning, and by lunchtime that day, we'd received a call from the landlord.
Just to be clear, does the landlord live with them? It seems unusual that a landlord would raise suspicions or questions about locations of tenants hours after they disappeared at 2 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't make sense, does it?
No, what we do know is that in the days preceding, the sisters had indicated to the landlord that they intended to leave their tenancy, and the landlords carried out inquiries at the address, which has led...
Now, he's saying that now, but now it transpires that this text to the landlord or landlady was sent at 2 o'clock in the morning, just before the girls disappeared. I don't, that just totally seems strange to me. I understand that in the week leading up, they may have said to the landlady, oh, we're thinking of moving, we're looking for somewhere else, blah, 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 blah. But to send a text just before you're about to jump into a freezing cold river to say we're not coming back to the flat, I think that would be the last thing on your mind. I don't think that text is genuine, and I probably shouldn't say that, but it just doesn't feel right to me. I don't see why in a million years they would send a text to their landlady, unless there's more to the whole thing. Just thinking of, what would you do if you were renting a flat? I've rented flats in the past, and I'm telling you now, if I was thinking of unaliving myself, the last thing I'm going to do is send my landlord a text and say, oh, by the way, I'm not coming back to the tenancy. And I know, unfortunately, many people that have unalived themselves, people that I know personally, they don't write a text to the bank to say they're not be paying the mortgage anymore, or to the landlord say they're not coming back to the property. They leave messages for their loved ones, just to say, sorry, I can't do this anymore, or, whatever the thing is. If they leave any sort of message, of course, some people that unalive themselves don't leave any message whatsoever. They just do it. But often they do leave some sort of a message or a note or something, not to their landlord to say, that just seems to me, I don't know, it just seems like a thing of a reason why why that landlady felt that they could go into the flat, because you can't just go into someone's flat and sort of have a look at what's there. They've got, that landlady would have had to have had a reason to say, oh yeah, I went to the flat because I got this message. Also, I think what's relevant to me, and I am just speculating, I freely admit it, but I'm speculating with facts that the police have told us. One phone was with one of the sisters had her phone with her, and the other sister, her phone was back at the flat. So where did the text to the landlady come from? It must have come from the phone from the sister who had it with her at the river, or we don't know all that. It hasn't been made clear, has it? And the phone that was left behind at the property, maybe there's nothing on that phone, but the phone that's disappeared along with the sisters apparently will that be the phone that this message was sent from? And then apparently that phone was how they described it was, they said that phone was disconnected and it's never been switched on again. Well, it could have gone into the river with the sister, of course, and that would result in it disconnecting, wouldn't it? But again, nothing has been found. So this is the other suspicious thing to me. If they've gone into that river, it must have either been an accident or someone's pushed them in it, because I think if they would have put themselves in it, they would have left some possessions on the side of the river. I think that'd be very unusual for someone to deliberately go in that river and not leave anything at the side of the river. And we're going to look at that in a minute. I had a little research about how people do these kind of things normally.
Led them to be concerned about the whereabouts of the sisters, specifically due to some materials, personal possessions, etc., that had been left within the address. No, there's nothing specific within the properties to suggest that they had either an intention to disappear or an intention to do themselves harm. What there was within the property are a number of personal possessions, which are now in the possession of the police, and those are things that we can interrogate to try and glean further information in relation to the wider circumstances, but nothing to explicitly suggest that they intended either to leave the area immediately or that they had any intent to do themselves harm.
Is the landlord being interviewed as a witness?
Yes.
Or a suspect?
No, there are no suspects. This is not a criminal inquiry. This is a missing person inquiry.
He's very insistent every time. No suspects. So, but you know what it's like. There's no suspects until suddenly someone gets arrested.
They lived together in that tenancy, but there were no further tenants in the flat.
They hadn't left any personal belongings behind versus the mobile, as far as you're aware, they hadn't those on there.
There were some personal possessions in the flat, including mobile phones. We are working to interrogate the information on them. One, to understand how recent and relevant they are. You understand, in terms of that sort of retention of devices. So we're working hard to understand that. But we do believe that they had at least one mobile phone in their possession at the time in which they were around this area.
Yeah, at least one mobile phone in their possession. And then he said there were mobile phones in the flat. Now, I was just thinking about, in my drawer here, there are 3 defunct mobile phones. So to God, we've got loads of mobile phones, really, when I think about it. So my son's got a mobile phone. I've got 2 mobile phones just because I can't be bothered putting all the information from one onto the other. There are 3 old mobile phones in the drawer somewhere that I can't just don't know what to do with. What do you do with your old mobile phones? So maybe that's what it's like in the sisters. That there are 2 of them. They may have had when you get a new mobile phone, what do you do with your old one? It's like so. But he did say mobile phones in the flat. He used the plural. So yeah, that be it. So they'll be looking into all that. There's so much more to come out in this, isn't there? You just know there's going to be more information coming out, probably maybe things that will surprise us, because that all of us, even though we seem like we have a very normal, boring life, or when I say boring, I mean, steady, stable life, and don't do anything. Everybody has, there's, your public life, your private life, and your secret life. We've all got that. We've all got our little secrets. I mean, some people's little secrets are bigger than others, of course. But it's incredible how people, you just don't, you find out things. Anyone who's got to my age, how many people that you thought were like one way and then you find out they're not, and then all sorts of things come out. That's besides watching crime videos and things of double lives that people lead, etc. People do have complicated lives. Ordinary people have what you would think of as ordinary people. They've all got skeletons in their cupboard. They've all got secrets. Things they might not want people to know. This is part of us as human beings, isn't it? Not everybody is just open about everything. So, what was this? These sisters, they had their public life, which was their work lives. They had their private life, which maybe their family knew about. But did their family know about their secret life?
At the time of last sighting.
In terms of the journey that they made to get here, did they pass on busy streets like Union Street, for example, or were you able to establish what route they took?
Yeah, we know that from their home address, they've taken essentially a direct walking route through the city centre to ultimately end up here at about 12 minutes past 2 in the morning. They haven't stopped at any premises. We don't think they're in the company of anyone else. They seem to have left their home address or the vicinity of their home address and walked in a direct line to this location here.
So did one of them leave behind a mobile phone then? Just one of them, or one of them had one with them?
No, I can't say that with any degree of certainty. What I can say with a degree of certainty is that they were in possession of a mobile phone and that there were mobile phones in the flat. What we'll have to work to try and understand is whether the phones in the flat are recent and relevant. And given security around about mobile telephones and the fact that people tend not to dispose of old devices, there's work to do to understand the provenance of those devices.
I think your working assumption.
Yeah, there you go.
Our working assumption is that we are very concerned about their whereabouts, and we are now a week on. We're not ruling anything in or out. We're remaining open-minded. But one of our strong theories has to be that for some reason they've entered the water, and that's why so much of our search activity focuses in that area. But that hasn't meant that we have taken our focus away from different elements of the inquiry, so we're still carrying.
Sorry, I'm just thinking, honestly, if you're honest, you think to yourself, I mean, maybe you think like Laurie, your only stash is your sweets and your crisps. But if you think back, like if you've got an old phone, would you really be comfortable with the police going through your phone? I don't mean because you're going to find anything illegal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if the police went through my phone, they wouldn't find anything illegal, but they would find embarrassing things that were embarrassing, like, I don't know, when you're in a relationship maybe and you're having a text argument with someone, or you're doing a drunken text, like you do at sort of 1 o'clock in the morning, it can be, or you get a slushy text maybe, or maybe a sext, maybe you haven't done it, but I would hold my hands up and say, I wouldn't want anyone to read my phones, not because of illegal reasons, but just because of pure embarrassment reasons, just for, oh God, how many people haven't woke up in the morning, maybe you don't do it now, but you will have done it at some point. So if you've got phones that maybe you had 10, 15 years ago, and you woke up in the morning and you say, oh, I can't believe I sent that text. Why did I do that? Well, maybe it's just me, but I think there's a lot of people will have those kind of texts. A lot of people will have, things they'd be embarrassed for the police to see. As I say, not illegal. There's nothing illegal on my phones. I'm thinking about it now, actually. Is there? No, there wouldn't be anything illegal on them, but there are things on them that I wouldn't want the police to look at, not because there's anything illegal about them, but just because it would be embarrassing.
Laying out a wider CCTV trawl to understand if they may have escaped the area by some means that we are so far unaware of. But at the moment, our best hypothesis is that they've gone into the footpath at the side of the river here, and that they haven't emerged. And we are trying to understand exactly what has happened once they've entered that area.
With the CCTV you've examined, did they appear to be in a normal state of mind, or did they look?
Yeah, that's the other thing, Laurie. That's true. If they looked at my computer, you know what I've been looking up today? Like river self-deletions and also, and I think, God, yeah, quite often, sometimes if I'm looking into, like when I've done things about terrorism or, I'm not even supposed to say that bloody word on YouTube. If the police, they'd be like, well, why have you got all these searches about, this or that? And it'd be like, well, maybe they'd understand, I'd have to show them the YouTube channel then. So it's just research. But yeah, so nobody would want their devices to be looked at, I don't think. And yeah, especially if they're interested in true crime and stuff, that's just, but I think the police would know the difference, wouldn't they? Or I certainly hope they would.
No, from the CCTV, they seem to walk a direct line here. There's nothing in either their demeanour or their interaction with each other or their interaction with anyone else that suggests that they were in distress or to give us any sort of concern for their health at that time.
Please mentioned that CCTV trawl. Are there any new pictures you've been able to glean from when they first went missing? For example, from the businesses or from the garages?
There's nothing that extends beyond the point last seen, which is essentially here where we're standing at just the back of 2 in the morning on Tuesday the 7th. But what we have obtained is a degree of further footage of their movements through the city centre up to this point, and we're interrogating that as part of the wider inquiry. But the trawl does extend beyond the point last seen, and our intention is to rule in or rule out the fact that they've left this area by means as yet unknown to us.
Has there been any activity on their banks?
It's something that we're looking at pretty constantly. There is nothing to indicate financial transactions since the time that they were last seen.
The searches of the water that you've carried out so far, have they gleaned anything at all?
No, we haven't found any personal possessions. We haven't found anything to indicate that they've been within the water, but that remains one of our working theories. Sorry.
Is there anything to suggest that they've taken this route before, or they've been out at that time of night?
Yeah, I do think that's strange that they haven't found anything. We can see, let's have a look what those women had with them. They had stuff with them. They had a bag, or at least one bag, if not two bags. It's difficult to see the other person's bag, but people seem to think she might have had a small clutch bag here. But this, you can see they've got the scarves, their coats, presume they've got gloves on. I'm not sure if they've got gloves on or not. It's very strange that nothing whatsoever has been found. Isn't it? Or is it just me imagining it? You'd think something, even if they'd gone in the water, wouldn't the bag have come off her shoulder, or she would have let go of the clutch bag and that would have washed up or been found. Very strange. Nothing's been found. I think that makes it even stranger, because if they would have found something like the bag or, a scarf or something, or would people then think it was a decoy? I don't know. Maybe if someone had done deliberate damage to these girls, they would have thrown the bag there at the river just to make it look like they'd gone in. Anyway, it's this really is, talk about mysteries. We cover, of course, mysteries, but this is a real mystery, isn't it?
That's a focus of the inquiry that's being developed at the moment. As we stand here, no. Certainly in the days immediately prior, there's nothing from interaction with friends or interaction with family that would suggest that being on foot in this area or out in Aberdeen at that time in the morning at all is normal behaviour for them. But what we are doing is extending our inquiries just to try and understand whether that was maybe something, whether they maybe had a reason to be here that we're currently unaware of.
Have you been able to get any information relating to their mobile activity, like mobile phone accounts, texts, WhatsApps?
We're working, with the appropriate specialists to try and understand what use that there's been on the phones, but there is nothing that we have found that either causes us concern in that regard or anything that brings our inquiries beyond the point last seen here.
And so have you got texts? Have you found, mobile activity in the run-up to them going missing? It's a text from 1:30, say, or 1 o'clock.
It's a line of inquiry that we'll follow. I mean, you'll understand people are busy on their mobile telephones at all times. We have a number of devices from the flat that we will interrogate to try and understand who they've been in contact with. But what we don't have, what I can say is we don't have detail of either text or telephone contact with people in the run-up to their disappearance that provides any further context or information as to what's happened.
And is there a chance that the working phones have gone into the water then?
As I say, we're not ruling anything out, but one of our theories has to be that they've entered this water in possession of any items they had with them at that time. But we're not ruling out any other possibilities.
Are the family planning to come to Aberdeen?
Not at the moment. We're in contact with their family regularly. Their family are hugely appreciative of the police inquiries. They're hugely appreciative of the support that the inquiries had in the media. They're hugely appreciative of the support that they've had from people in Aberdeen. And they're just really, really worried about what's happened. We'll update them daily, and it may be the case that they decide to come to Aberdeen, but at the moment, no. Yeah, I think what we have is some of the CCTV coverage of this area also picks up audio. And as part of our trawl, we do have an audio feed from the area around the material.
Yeah, they've been very cagey about that audio feed. They said there may be screams heard on it or something, but they haven't clarified, have they? This police conference, if you like, I think it was Thursday or Friday. There's been no update since then. I've just had another look on Police Scotland, no update. So this is the last proper conference we've had about this case, where he's actually answering questions, etc. But yeah, they've been very cagey about this audio. They're saying that there is audio, but they've not really said exactly what it is.
Time, and what it indicates is that there are people and vehicles in and around the area. It's very difficult without the context of pictures to interpret sounds from an area such as this. It's really busy just now, which paints a false picture of what it looks and feels like at the back of 2 a.m. But this is a busy area generally. There's a lot of heavy industry. There's a lot of foot traffic over the bridge in particular. So in terms of that audio feed, there are a lot of noises that we are trying to interpret, but at the moment we don't have any evidence that suggests that any of that can be attributed to the missing sisters. But it's not something that we're ruling out. It's something that we're working on constantly.
Just to return to the tenancy, had they indicated at all that they also wish to leave Aberdeen?
No, nothing further, just that they intended to leave that flat at some point.
And what kind of timescale was that?
It was pretty open-ended, but
Okay.
you know, obviously explicit enough that the landlady felt like inquiry needed to be made just to further detail that.
Have there been a falling out with the land?
No, not that we believe.
You had anything from their employer as well?
And we've been in touch with employers. We've spoken to workmates. There's nothing that's coming out of that interaction that causes us any concern. Like I said at the beginning, everything suggests that Eliza and Henrietta were well settled in Aberdeen. They've been here for a number of years. They were, in secure and happy employment. They had a social life here. They had friends here, and this is just entirely out of character, both in terms of everything we found in the police inquiry, but also in terms of what we're being told by their family and by their friends. And if we could just take the opportunity again to extend that appeal to anyone who may have information that might assist us in taking this inquiry further, please contact Police Scotland. If you are in and around this area during the early hours of Tuesday, the 7th of January, whether you think you have relevant information or not, we would like to speak to you because we're trying to build up a picture of who was in and around the area and where we might glean further evidence for further information as we try and piece together the circumstances.
What is the likelihood that we're still alive? What?
I don't want to speculate on likelihood. What I would say again is that we're remaining open-minded. We have a theory which involves them having entered the water as a potential, but we can't rule out the fact that the timeline actually extends beyond that point, and we just haven't established that through inquiries. But we will continue with the energy, with the resource, with the scrutiny around about the inquiry, because we've got a duty to tell Eliza and Henrietta's sisters what has happened to the best of our ability, and to kind of reassure the community of Aberdeen here that we are doing everything we can to make that happen.
Thank God.
Sorry?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of key things there that is just so, and what you're saying there, Princess, would they really, even if they decided they wanted to unalive themselves, which, people do every day, but would they really be putting their family through all that torture of not knowing what's happened to them? Would they not have messaged their family and said something? So they've messaged their landlady, but not their family. They seem to have had a good relationship with their family from what we can see. They weren't estranged. They were talking. They spoke 2 days before, apparently. They spoke with their mother. So would they not have at least sent a message to their mum and said, look, we're sorry, we just can't continue anymore? Or, if they were going to do that. That's what rings completely wrong with me. Not that they might have done that to themselves, but they've never even let their family know, and they're letting their family suffer like that. They don't seem like, to me, people that would do that, but of course they may be. And yeah, that somebody said that, I think it was Michelle. yeah, they'll know from what they had in the flat. Had they got the shopping in? You know, did they have food in for the week? You know, you're not going to probably get your, you know, your week shopping in if what you're planning on doing is that. Or was it just an arbitrary decision? Thing is, we don't know. They looked in conversation, didn't they, in one of these in this last now I'm always struck by this, how determined they are walking, and this lady on this side, she's talking and the other one's listening. You know, it's like there's like something serious discussion going on there. They're very purposeful. This lady looks worried to me. Again, I know I'm just sort of, you know, imagining it, if you like. I'm not imagining it, but, you know, speculating, I suppose. But she is definitely talking and she is listening. She looks like deep in thought, worrying about something. They're striding out. I suppose with it being cold, maybe that's why they were striding out. So, and then even on the picture that was from the day before, again, I don't know, it just seems like they're sort of very earnest, very serious in whatever they're doing. You know, had they just decided, you know, sometimes people, when they unalive themselves, it is very planned. Sometimes it's a spontaneous act. Other times it's planned. You know, they come to a decision. Christmas, I would imagine, and New Year, you know, these are relevant dates. You know, people tend to do things around relevant dates, don't they? So, yeah, just something that occurred to me that they definitely seem, even on this one, they seem like engrossed, don't they? Like serious. Just watch the end of this.
The majority of the searches, again, will focus on the river area. We've got air support today, so what you're likely to see is the police helicopter supporting some of the search activity out towards the mouth of the harbour there. There's also foot-based conventional inquiries ongoing with industrial units up into Torry there as we extend out that CCTV trawl and try and speak to local people to get information from them. So there will be a significant police activity in and around this area for the coming days.
Okay, thanks everyone. I think we've kind of covered a lot of ground there, so I just conscious folk will need their kind of one-on-ones and everything as well, so we'll break off into that, but thanks everyone.
I bet this poor policeman, I bet he went home and lay down in a dark room. I bet he couldn't wait for that to be over. But, you know, he stood there, he took the questions and that, you know, don't know how much, you know, we didn't get that many answers in a way. We did get answers, but of course the answers are confusing.
Everyone, it's been... Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called for us.
I think the Sky reporter's going to come on in a minute, but they've forgotten. Where's he gone? He's gone for a coffee or he's gone to relieve himself. Look to be like, oh, come on. Where have you gone? Gone for a fag.
Yeah, ready.
He sounds like me.
We're starting with that. Yeah, I'm going to start the media there.
Oh my God, I'm going dizzy.
Yeah, this is a mystery here in Aberdeen, an investigation that is baffling detectives. A probe that is now 1 week in. We've just heard, as you can see there, the media gathering to hear from the superintendent laying out.
Oh, that's it. Okay, so that's really, we know for that police conference, which was just after a week into the mystery. There's not really been any development since then, or many anyway. But it'd be 2 weeks on Tuesday. Today, if you're watching this live, it's Sunday. On Tuesday, it'll have been 2 weeks and not much more information coming out, but it'll come out slowly, I expect. So what did come out after that press conference was the police revealed that the day before the event, these sisters were in the same place. See how the weather, the snow, frost on the ground. Now, what were they doing there the day before? But this was in the afternoon, so instead of 2 o'clock in the morning this time, it was round about 2 o'clock in the afternoon that they were caught on CCTV. Now, the police say they did not engage with anybody, or as far as they know, they didn't, but I expect there'll be more and more CCTV footage, etc., coming out as time goes on. So the girls, they're dressed very similarly, except they're wearing rucksacks, and one of them's wearing a bobble hat. Looks like they've got the same jackets on, got the same scarves on. So what were they doing there the day before? Were they, sussing out the area? Were they, what was in the rucksacks? Did they go to the market or buy some veg or whatever that they were carrying in their rucksacks? Now, they did return, a lot of people are asking, did they return to the flat with the rucksacks? From what I can gather, they did. But again, I've not had official confirmation of that. Did they leave those rucksacks somewhere for them to pick up the following morning? Was there stuff in those rucksacks? Really, what some people have said, did they get on a boat that morning? I can't, I understand why people are saying that. And of course it's a possibility, but would a boat not have been caught on the CCTV? This is what I can't understand, that nothing more was caught on the CCTV. But so let's say, maybe they left those rucksacks somewhere to pick up the following morning to take with them to do midnight flip. It's just as possible as anything else, I suppose. But yeah, very, you just wish you... Anyway, the police are saying that they do have CCTV audio. So let's see what happens when the audio comes out, if it ever does. So this was the CCTV from the day before. So that was the day before. And then on the day itself, it was this. So again, on both, purposeful walks, look like deep in thought, in earnest conversation, wrapped up appropriately for the weather, wrapped up smartly, I would say. They're dressed nicely, aren't they? Yeah. What has happened to these sisters? Anyway, so I wrote down a couple of notes of things that I just wanted to talk about. So first of all, why were they there at the same place the day before? What was the reason for that? Was it, even though they may not have actually, the police say they didn't see them engaging with anyone, but they may have had some messages with people, or phone conversations with people there. Why were they wearing rucksacks? What was in the rucksacks? Then, of course, the next question is, why then did they go out at 2 a.m. in the morning? Why text the landlady? This is a big thing for me, the texting the landlady. It's a massive thing. I just don't get it at all, which again doesn't mean to say, you can't look into someone else's mind and know exactly why they did something. There's lots of cases that we follow, and I think, well, why would they have done that? And I can't understand it, because just because I wouldn't have done it doesn't mean to say it could, there's no reason for doing it. Everybody has their own thoughts. But yeah, that's a massive thing to me. Why text that landlady? I just don't get it. Why not take their phones with them? Now, I know they're identical twins or triplets, so maybe they use the same phone. But, would you do that? Really? I mean, if you went out with your sister, you'd have your own phone, wouldn't you? People are glued to their phones these days. It's like, why would you leave your phone at home? Did she leave her phone at home, or was her phone deliberately left at home by someone who did something to her? Yeah, they dress smartly. I think that's significant. I don't know why. I don't know what what do you wear to go in on a live yourself? But to me, I just think, why were they dressed so smartly? And then nothing has been found. No belongings found, nothing left by the side of the river. I personally don't think for a minute they've unalived themselves, but you know what? Doesn't mean it that they didn't. Were they meeting someone? Or what? There's no reason for them to go down that place unless they were meeting someone. Because why would you go there? It's not a place you would go to for a walk. Let's suppose they did decide that they wanted to go for a walk at 2:00 in the morning, which is fair enough. I probably wouldn't do it when it was so cold, but I have gone out for walks at 2:00 in the morning, but mainly in the summer. And it's here in Spain where I live at 2:00 in the morning in the summer. There are people about, and people do go out and walk because it's warm, but maybe not in the winter. Sorry, my voice is going. I've done really well, actually. I've got through a lot without coughing. Is there a possibility that they're escorts and they were meeting someone? That's what people have suggested. It's always a possibility. Then, of course, there's this drugs thing with it involved in some sort of drugs deal, but their family are insistent that they did not drink or take drugs. Did they get on a boat? I think that's unlikely. I think a boat can't just appear out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? It's like it will have been caught on CCTV. Did they get in a car? I mean, is it possible that there was a car out of sight somewhere? And maybe they did get in a car and go off somewhere, do a midnight flick. So some people are saying they had money problems. You'd have to have pretty big money problems, wouldn't you? I mean, they're two single women in their 30s who work, who share a rent. I can't see it. How would they have money problems unless they were on drugs or something like that? How, they've got no children, no animals to spend their money on. What were they spending their money on? I don't believe that they've got money problems, or I can't understand how they would have money problems. And most Eastern European people, I know you shouldn't generalize, but I think they're hardworking. Apparently in that area there was a big Hungarian community. Of course, what's happened since Brexit is it's been decimated, that community. And what's happened since Brexit in Britain, as far as I can see, is all the good immigrants have had to go somewhere else, because all the hard-working Eastern Europeans paying their taxes, working in the National Health Service, etc., or doing whatever jobs, because they're hard-working. They're good people, they work hard, they contribute to society, and a lot of them have had to go. Spain's had the benefit of being able to welcome quite a lot of them. I've had a lot of students from Eastern Europe, from Hungary actually, from Poland, from lots of different, Romania, etc. They've had to come to Spain, even though they'd lived in Britain for years and years, because Brexit just made everything difficult for them. So I don't believe that they've got money problems. I could be wrong, but why would they have money problems? As I say, 2 single women, no children, sharing the rent, working. Why would they have money problems? And then the last thing, of course, think about is the screams. I'll be interested to see if the police, do release any audio footage, or if not actually release the footage, tell us what was being said. They've got to, I'm sure there'll be more drip feed of information from the police as days go on, that's for sure. Sorry, excuse me. So that's where we are, basically. That's where we are. And if hopefully, listen, they've not been found yet, but it's not for want of trying. The police have been out there with helicopters, etc. The divers are out. So if they've not been found, it's not for want of trying. Oh, something I just wanted to read out to you. So I was having a look at. Now I need to give you a trigger warning here because I'm going to talk about self-deletion. Just the records of it. The Water Safety Scotland website, this is. Water-based self-deletion. As highlighted in Scotland's drowning prevention strategy, an average 29 people take their own life in water-related self-deletions every year in Scotland. That's not, it's a lot to every person that applies to and their families. It's, a massive amount, I suppose, but it doesn't seem that many, does it? 29 people a year. Recently published data from Water Incident Database indicates an increase in this average. Now, when they say water-related self-deletion, do they mean rivers, or do they mean like maybe in the bath, or, I'm not sure. But water-related suicide. I don't know if that means particularly river or sea self-deletion. Anyway. And then I just wanted to read this out because I think this is maybe important for awareness of misconceptions and myths surrounding self-deletion to overcome stigma and inaccurate stereotypes. Common misconceptions about self-deletion are if someone is talking about completing it, they're not serious about it. It can't be prevented. People who are feeling like self-deletion are also mentally ill. Self-deletion thoughts mean that the person wants to do it. If I talk about it, it will make people more likely to complete it. I think that's if you know somebody has had that ideation, it's awkward to broach the subject, isn't it? Because you don't want to, you would feel like, oh God, I don't want to push them into it, or don't want to give them ideas. But, I think in my experience with people that have done that, if they decide to do it, they're going to do it, whatever. And you can talk to them. But I think if someone's completely, I don't think you should be scared of talking to them about it. If they want to do it, they'll do it. Ultimately, the decision does come from them, doesn't it? It is a decision that people make, because for whatever reason, they just can't face, life for whatever reason. But there's lots of people as well that are prevented from doing it one way or another by somebody talking to them, or sometimes people are actually physically prevented from doing it. If somebody sees someone on a bridge or whatever and goes out there and stops them. And then later they're grateful. I saw an amazing video the other day. In fact, I might show it in a minute. No, well, I'll just talk because I don't know if I'm allowed to show it or not. But it was a guy who in Niagara Falls decided to take his own life. Actually walked out into the middle of Niagara Falls onto the shelf that's sort of there because he it was financial reasons mainly. And then changed his mind, but he was there on the top of Niagara Falls. I wonder if I can find a photo of it. Anyway, he was saved, and he was grateful that he was saved. Oh, people put their lives at risk to save him as well. It was now a lot of people do it at Niagara Falls. Unfortunately, there was a very sad case recently, a mother who took a child over, which is horrible to think of, but I can't find the photo. Hang on. So what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is, yes, sometimes people, if they're impulsive, they might just decide to do it in a moment and then suddenly think, oh my God, what did I decide to do that for? Other people are determined. I think somebody who's determined, you can never stop them. I literally do believe that. But some people are not quite sure, are they? Let's have a look at this. Let's see if we can find. Yeah, 2012. No, that's not it. No. That's not it. It's this one, I think. Oh, it's not clicking. Right, my computer's frozen up now for some reason. Okay. Anyway, probably better because it'll probably get pulled up. Like YouTube doesn't like you talking about self-deletion at all. So they'll definitely pull it up. Oh, have I frozen? Am I back? Am I back? I think I am. I think I'm back. Let's see if I can find it. Right. So I'm not going to show the video because I probably can't. Yeah. Look, this guy. So this guy decided he wanted to unalive himself. He walked out onto Niagara Falls and then he suddenly thought, oh shit, I don't want to unalive myself at all. I've changed my mind. So what he did was he put his foot into like a crevice, a crack in the thing, and stuck his foot in there so that he wouldn't fall. And then, of course, they had to rescue him. And he was like, oh shit. And he hung on. Anyway, he was rescued. Spoiler alert. Let's see if we can see another picture of him. Look, so they all had to go and rescue him, put their lives at risk, which I'm sure they were glad to do because look at him, he's just on the edge there with his foot stuck in the I've watched the whole video. It is, oh my God, it's incredible. And then he does fall and he hangs on to the edge. Let's see. Yeah, he does fall over, but he hangs on anyway, and the rescuers come and rescue him. But God, incredible. So yeah, so we mustn't think that someone having self-deletion thoughts means that they actually want to complete it. What it normally means, or often means, is they're just in that moment. Like he wanted to when he went out on Niagara Falls, but then he realised he didn't want to. And he stuck his foot in that crevice and then he was rescued. And he was so grateful that he was rescued. So you mustn't think if I talk about it, it will make people more likely to complete it. That self-deletions only happen during the winter, or that people who want to self-delete are just attention seeking. So it was just talking about the different myths. I thought that was quite interesting. You know, I'd like to do sort of more about that, but you just can't on YouTube. They don't like it. They just don't like you talking about things like that. So, okay. So anyway, that's where we are with these missing sisters. You know, it is an absolutely total mystery. You know, what's happened to these women. I just hope, you know, you never know. There may be some, you know, I still like to think positive. Oh, I haven't lit, well, I've lit some candles this morning, but I haven't lit a specific candle. So my candle that I'm lighting today is for their family, you know, that they have the strength to sort of get through this, because it must just be awful. I hope that Eliza and Henrietta, some news is found soon. I hope it's good news, but you know, it doesn't feel like it's going to be good news, does it? But that doesn't mean to say it won't be. So yeah, what mystery. And anything that comes up, I'll be back to give you an update when the police, you know, finally decide to give some more information out. I doubt if we'll get any today, but you never know. It might be, it'll probably be tomorrow now. I do feel that it's not been on the mainstream media as much as it might be, because of course there's some other positive news going on in the world at the moment. You know, the ceasefire, finally the ceasefire in Israel, and you know, the release of hostages that's, you know, going to be starting after 2 p.m. UK time. 3 hostages will be released. So I think that's taken over the news at the moment, because I think if that wasn't going on, and of course there's the inauguration of Trump tomorrow as well. So there's a lot of news, if you like, already out there. The mainstream media, they'd pick up more, I think, on this case if there wasn't any other news. You know, that's sometimes what happens, isn't it? But yeah, so we'll see. Don't worry, Tina. We all press the wrong buttons sometimes and put the wrong things up there. You know, our thoughts are, as far as this case is concerned, our thoughts are with the girls, of course, but failing that, with their families who are going through hell, wondering what's happened to their loved ones. I hope they get some resolution soon. So I want to say thank you to everyone for caring. Thank you for watching. Please remember to press like, and also remember to subscribe and press notifications if you want updates on this case. Thank you for that. Makes a big difference to my channel. I hope you're enjoying watching the channel as well. And we'll be, you know, there's other cases that we talk about. We talk about all sorts of cases, anything. And if you're a member, you can suggest cases for us to talk about. What else did I want to say? Yeah, have a great Sunday. If you're watching this live, it's Sunday at the moment. It'll be Sunday all day. enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Try and get some chill time. Look after you, because I don't think I've said this for a while. You are the most important person, because you know what? If you don't look after you, you won't be able to look after anybody else. So, and take care. Until I see you again, may your God go with you. Bye.